Okay. Hi, Gina.
Hey, Amy. Hi.
Hello. So today we'll talk about my first video.
Great. Well done on your first lesson.
Thank you. So overall, I believe the lesson was engaging. Students had good experience, and I addressed all the learning objectives. I think followed the lesson plan mostly, which was the aim, but had to make some adjustments. For example, I couldn't do the exit tickets or the flashcard games, didn't have enough time. And to be honest, the lesson plan was a lot of content for the amount of time and the age of our kids. So, had to make some adjustments. As far as standard one goes, I think I addressed standard one by differentiating expected answers from children. So some of them I would ask them one word answers or expect one word answers. Some I would encourage to speak in full sentences, and some I would ask why and be more descriptive. I place the higher achievers next to the younger achievers so that in the think, pair, share activity, that could work better. However, we've never done this activity before in my circles, so they were a little bit, they wasn't very clear of what they needed to do. So I think I will definitely use this again and keep doing it in order for them to be able to collaborate with each other.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad that you were able to think on your feet and also adapt the lesson plan. You're right; it was quite content heavy. For this age group, that content heavy is sometimes more advisable to split it into 2 lessons, because a unit can go on for, it doesn't necessarily only have to be 5 days or 5 lessons. You can take a unit as long as you need to for them to understand the content. The think, pair, share, you've made a really good point. The students are not 100% familiar with it. They are, but in a different context. But from a circle perspective, the way the lesson was laid out, they're not 100% familiar with it. A suggestion that I would have for the think, pair, share, in order to get some movements, to have a bit of a brain break for the children as well, is to potentially print those photos out off your iPad, spread them through the classroom, and have the children stand up, and you pair them together, then send them to wherever you've placed a photo or a picture. So they get movement from that, they get a bit of a break from sitting, and then you can use that also as a form of formative assessment, because you can walk around. In order for them to understand how a think, pair, share works, you could also have a visual timer. So we're going to go to your place where your picture is, you can talk to each other, and I would provide them with the questions, remind them of the questions. Remember, when looking at the picture, does this item or object need water? Does it grow? So before you send them off there, I would remind them of the questions that they need to think about for each other. And then have a visual timer so that they understand that there's a time to the think, pair, share. So like our egg timers in the classroom. So I'm going to turn this over. During this time, you can ask each other these questions, decide whether it's living or non-living. And then when the time is finished, come back to the circle with your partner and your picture.
Yes.
And then have them share to the group that way. So it can double up as a kind of assessment as well.
Yes, great. I like that.
But also gives them a bit of a break from sitting.
Sure, yeah.
Because for this age group to sit for that period of time is quite difficult. So the think, pair, share can work really well, but it needs to be more adapted to their age group and also to their abilities, because then you have the power to pair a native English speaker with a second language English speaker who maybe needs a bit more confidence.
Sure, yeah.
So you'd be able to pair them appropriately that way. I think I really enjoyed the repetition. I think that addressed the needs of the EAL learners or the ELL learners.
Yes.
because you would notice by the end of your lesson, many of them could repeat and could use the language that you imparted to them during that lesson. Sorry, I'm just having a look at my notes. I like that you use translanguaging to understand comprehension. So you asked the teaching assistant to translate what Ellie had tried to explain. I think that's important because you need to understand whether there's comprehension rather than just language. And then she was provided with that language of air. And that was a really clever thought, actually, on Ellie's part. The fact that
the air in the ball.
There's air in the ball and it does grow.
Yes.
So that you handled that very well. So for the kinesthetic learners, I won't name names here. Afterwards, we can discuss exactly who they are.
Sure.
I would potentially incorporate a song, a movement song. I really enjoyed where you had them growing, and as you could see, almost every child participated in that, and that was a nice little break for them from sitting as well. And it also gave them the physical understanding and comprehension of growing. So perhaps a song. Throw in a song in the next lesson. That song could have been something like Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, something that they're familiar with, just to give them a break from the content, but it develops their language and engages their interest. But all in all, it was really great, and the kids learned a lot from it. And I know that there is work on the shelf at the moment that they can choose independently, and you can continue to work with them with that. So well done.
Thank you, Gina.